Hey guys, I'm gonna play around with something. I did some tags before, and I showed you the original images when I prepped them, but I was gonna do some coloring on these, and it's just something I just thought I'd try the other day. But you can see how I've got them distressed, some more than others, but they're made to look older. So I took off some of the coloring, and I'm just going to show you basically what I did. Trying to find one. I forgot to leave one that I did not distress a lot. I need two on the top here. Just took my little file, and I'm taking the rougher edges, and you just run it over it, and see how it just removes the color. Now you can do that, like this one I'm gonna take a little bit more, and it really distresses it, but it makes it look older, okay? But I want to color it. I could distress it in this, but I thought, you know what, I want to play and see what I can do. These are just cheap watercolors. I've shown these before. I got them, I think, Hobby Lobby on clearance for $1.74. But I mean, you can get the cheap ones from Dollar Tree. You can get them anywhere, really. I want this one a little bit lighter. I used black and a sienna last night on some other ones. And then I'm just going to spritz it with water because I want the watercolors and I want them watery. And these, where they were in clearance, they were older. I do need to give more water to break them up, but they do just fine. They do just fine. If I get it too light, I can add some more brown into it or another color if I don't like it. There we go. But I'm just gonna pick one of these up and see. It's just one of my paintbrushes. I don't buy expensive paintbrushes. I get them from somebody and get them really cheap. Sometimes I just use that. You do not need to spend money to craft. Don't let anybody tell you you have to. And this is just gonna put a little edging on it. And I forgot to get my spoon, but if you do more, I had a little sponge last night that I tried. You can run it, and it'll run over it. Let's see here. A little piece of a makeup sponge. Show you what I meant. But if I squeeze it on there and you run it, gives a little runny look, a little thicker and different. And I'll cut these out when they're dry. I'll show you an example in a minute. And yeah, I don't wear gloves. Just play around and see. Again, it usually will run right down that line if you hold it, but you can make it run onto it if you want to, which I like that look. I'll show you some in a minute that did that. It just gives you another little distressed. Just let it dry. I'm gonna put it right here in this light. It dries pretty quick. If you don't want to have the big thick that, you can just brush it, and if you go at an angle, it doesn't look like much like now, but when you get it done. And this is just watercolor, so it's not really thick. You have acrylics, use acrylics. You can use whatever you want. I was wanting to try it with my distress pens and rub it and do my Tim Holtz distress markers, and I put them up, and I have to get them back out because I was going through some stuff. My son's again will be staying with us. Another thing you can do, splatter on top of it with these watercolors. Give a different, when it dries it looks completely different. I mean to get it on her face, but that's okay. If you don't like that, take it off. Don't make it as dark. Just wipe it off. No big deal. It's just paper. And these are free digital, so it's nothing to me. I think I want a little bit darker on some of these. Add in some actual brown. See if I can make it darker. That's the thing about playing. You just need to play. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I always cover it back up or throw it away. I mean, you know, if I don't like the way that looks when I get through, put another digital on top of it, just extra thickness. That's the great thing about crafting. You can just want a thin line, and you're going to be cutting this outside edge off, so it's no big deal. Here I'm just going ahead and do it all. I do want them splattered. I like the in a drawer, got rained on or whatever. I don't know, just different stuff. You can also take the sponge. I found this last night on some of them, and like this, and it will give like a little painted edge. That's a different look, if that's what you like or don't like. Or, you know what, distress it with after you cut it out. Now this is just a tip for people who don't have, like for instance, if you don't have distress inks, you don't have inks, I mean, you can go to, like I said, Dollar Tree, get a thing of watercolors for $1.25 plus tax. Every color in the world, and it will last you like forever. Okay. I just did this side, so that's that. So, I mean, you could actually cut it first and then distress the sides if that's what you wanted. Okay. Use a sponge, use that, use your, some kind of, make your own dauber with material and a glue stick lid, old lid. I think I got a video showing how I did that. That's my favorite daubers. I bought stuff, but I tend to always go to what my free stuff is. That's just the way I do it. I just usually like those looks a little bit better. But I will show you. And I need to pay attention if I'm still in line or not. Okay. But I'll show you some that I did that have already dried, because they do look completely different when they're dried. Like, that one's okay, but with the splatter, and where I let it run, I did that intentionally. You can see where I let it run thicker. It just looks weathered and worn. And just a lot of sprinkles, a lot of that. This one I sanded a lot, and it's purely black, and I let it run, and I even took a brush and brushed over it a little bit. This one was where that sponge technique where I took the sponge after, you know, and did it like that. There's that one, but I haven't sanded that one yet. I thought about the sanding after I did it, but just some ideas. Just something. I even distressed this one to the point. See how it's sort of off there? That was intentional. Wanted to pull in the blacks and this and that. And if I use them, I use them. I don't, I don't. They're just playing around. But they do have a whole different look when you're finished with them. And of course, you can do anything you want. As thick a line, a thin as line. Run it on there. If you want to do. Let's do a thin line here. And I'll cut it out afterwards, after it dries. I do suggest please sand them before you do this, because if they get wet, really hard. That's how that one I distressed a little bit more. I discovered that the hard way. But I like the look anyway and did a few like that. I think I'm going to use the rest of this to sprinkle and spritz. It's a great thing about watercolor. You can get some good blotches. If you're a gold person, do gold. A lot of people like the gold and the white and the blacks. That I just wanted to do different. Leave those few like that. But there you go. Just a little something I come up with. A little tip.